People of the Fort Lauderdale and Miami area, come see me at the Dania Improv, December 21st at 8 p.m. Last show of the tour, baby, until we kick off next year. And before that, if you're a little further, I believe it's west, Naples, Florida. I'm going to be there at Off the Hook Comedy Club, December 19th and 20th, Tuesday and Wednesday. Come see your boy. Come escape your family before the holidays. And yeah, dude, last show's of the tour. Let's do it. See you there. Alrighty, we are in, we are back, we are here. I have a different microphone set up, and I'm pretty pissed about it. There's nothing more infuriating than when technology has been working forever and then just decides to not work. What's going on with that? I've had the same microphone set up for years, and I went to do the podcast today, and it just wasn't working. It was staticky, it was bullshit, and I have high standards, okay? I'm not gonna put out some bullshit product to you guys, all right? I care. So I'm using my little Zoom recorder right now. Never used it for a podcast before. I use this to get the mic audio during shows, but all of this to be said, if the sound is a little bit different, could be better, honestly, but if it's a little different, that's why. Having microphone issues, trying this thing out. And it looks like I'm talking into a vape, like a fancy vape that blows way too much smoke. Why do vapes blow way, it's too much smoke. It's too much. It's braggadocious. We get it, okay? I don't need a whole cotton candy dust storm in my face, okay? Yeah, it smells good, but that's not the point, dude. The point is relax, okay? I'm not even sure people do vaping as much anymore either. We have big vape. Do you guys like the vaping thing? I don't know. Look, man, here's the deal. I appreciate you guys watching and listening to this. I really do. And I'm going to do a little something different this week. I'm going to talk about my shows in the Midwest, in Indianapolis and St. Louis, but I'm going to do that at the end. Okay? Switching it up. I'm going to end with comedy. I'm going to do a little life talk. How about that? Look, man, I did my shows, and then I flew from St. Louis to Minneapolis, where my sister, my brother-in-law, that's her husband, that's how that works, and her children, her two awesome kids who are my nephews, went to Minneapolis and just hung out, dude, for the weekend. Was just a person for a weekend. And tell you what, man, it was well needed. You know, I've been running and gunning for the whole year, and I'm trying to just take a pause, go see some family, man. Prioritize that shit. I'm very blessed with an amazing family across the board. And I wanted to see them as much as possible. And so I kind of spent the weekend with them, and tell you what, man, Minneapolis, cold as shit, but I loved it. Because I live in LA. It's pretty much 75 degrees and sunny every day. Christmas, 80 degrees. It's weird to sweat on Christmas. I love visiting the cold. It snowed to a good degree, not too much. It was just kind of that cute snow, the flurries. I'm into it, man. That light layer of snow, dude, I love it. I don't want to live with snow because it stops being fun very quickly. I went to college in Chicago, and it sucked. Chicago rocks in the summer. But when you can't go outside for like 7 months, that's insane. Love visiting the cold. Genuinely loved it. I like the cold. It almost wakes you up. Keeps you sharp. You're out there. Whoo. You can't be tired and cold. That's why comedy clubs are always cold, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that. If you're ever in a comedy club and you're like, why am I cold as shit right now? So you're not sleepy. If it's too hot, you're going to be lethargic. You're going to sit back and be like, oh, I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I'm full from all the chicken tendies I just ate. But if it's cold, you're alert. You're awake. You're a little whoo. Now you're laughing. Ha. Am I shivering or am I laughing? Who's to say? Tell you what, man, I had a great time with them. Touching my nose a lot. You're going to think I'm doing coke. I'm not. Never done coke in my life. I take pride in that. Never have. Because it's what's in there, Nope. I remember I just remember this. When I first started doing stand-up, I have a tendency to talk fast anyways, but when I first started doing stand-up, I talked very fast. And I sent my mom a clip of me doing stand-up. It's like the first year. And she legitimately asked me, are you doing coke? And she wasn't kidding. Because I was off at college doing God knows what. Fair assumption. But I was like, nope, that's just me being normal. That's just me doing my art, Mom. Tell you what, man, I had a great time in Minneapolis. I genuinely did. I ate like a Midwesterner. What I mean is I ate pretty bad. I'm talking melted cheese, burritos, booze, donuts. I was a little piggy boy. And I loved every second of it. Because living in LA, I'm eating salads. I'm drinking smoothies. I'm doing chicken breasts, salmon. But in the Midwest, bro, I let it rip. Beer, everything, dude. I felt so good. Fried chicken sandwich, toasted sourdough, melted cheese, pickles, aioli. Fuck. It was so good, dude. I ate so bad that I got back to LA and the first meal Kaylee and I made was like a salmon and a green bean thing. And I was like, ugh. God, where are the carbs, man? Where's the bread? Where's the melted cheese? Put it in my mouth, shove it up my butt. I miss eating like that. It was so good, man. I tell you what, also, shout out to Minneapolis. They had something else that I did not expect them to have. Is I went to a restaurant and you can order THC seltzers. And it's no secret that your boy likes his weed, okay? It's my thing. It's how I relax, how I unwind. But you can just go to I don't even know if you can go to a dispensary in Minneapolis. I think you can, but they have these drinks that you can just order from a restaurant. THC seltzers from a restaurant in the Midwest. I've never seen that in LA. Dude, I tell you what, man. When we were at the crib, your boy was crushing the seltzers. THC seltzers, love it. So nice, man. Something different. I think that's what I liked about the trip. I was out of my element and doing different things, and it felt really nice. Tell you what didn't feel nice is the funniest moment of the trip was the first night I was there. And they've lived in the same house for years, and I love their house. It's beautiful. It makes me want to like abandon my life and just move to the Midwest and buy a house and just have kids, and that's just your life. I'm not pursuing anything. I'm not chasing anything. I just work a job that's whatever, and I take care of the kids, and I have a family, and I come home, I drink my THC seltzers, I suck it down with some melted cheese. It's a heck of a life, man. Who knows, bro? When I'm 50, you can catch me in fucking Des Moines, just living, fat, gut, maybe. First night, I'm in bed, and I decide, make sure this shit's still going. I decide to, it's always, whenever I'm in the middle of the night, whenever you have to do something, it's just a drag. Whether you have to pee, get a drink of water, you're like, ugh, I gotta get out of bed to do that. And I was in one of those situations where I was cozy in bed, and I was like, man, I need a drink of water, and I need to pee. But there's always the moment where you're like, what if I just don't? What if I'll just be thirsty, and I'll pee in the morning. But I was like, nope, this is too much. I gotta go all the way downstairs to do this. So I'm half asleep. It's the middle of the night, 4 a.m. I'm walking downstairs, and I'm halfway down these stairs. I'm sneaking, by the way. Everyone's asleep. The two kids, my sister, brother-in-law, sleeping. Everyone's dead. Like, I'm sneaking down. And an alarm gets triggered. Wow, 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 wow. Didn't even know they had an alarm system. And I'm standing there in the middle of the stairs in my undies, still probably cooked from the THC seltzers I've been pounding. Standing there like, you gotta be kidding me. I went from, I'm gonna sneak down there to, wah, 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 wah. I mean, it was like, it was the worst case scenario. I was standing there like unreal. And after about 10 seconds, here's what I expected to happen is everyone opened their doors and they're like, oh, and everyone's awake and, oh, Will, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, what's happening? The police are at the door. Hey, is everyone okay in there? So I'm standing there for about 10 seconds and no one's up. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can just turn it off real quick. I run up. It's like the ring doorbell alarm system, one of those things. And I went up to I was like, let me just, I don't know the code. So what if I just unplug it? Tried to unplug it. That didn't work, which, hey, thank God that didn't work. Can you imagine if that was the solution? The alarm's going off for robbers. Just like, oh, unplug. Okay, great. Gotta steal everything. So this is I'm giving you play-by-play here. It was going off, try to unplug it. No one's up yet. We're in 30 seconds of this. 30 seconds. And no one's up. And I'm like, well, I'm standing there for another few seconds. I'm like, and it's loud. It's not like, hey, an alarm. Yeah, you maybe want to turn off the alarm. It's like a fire alarm. No one's up. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just get a drink of water. So I'm like at the fridge, and it's no one's up. Now it's been like a full minute of the alarm going off and no one's awake. I'm standing at the bottom of the stairs with my water waiting. Like, what? Are they alive? What happened? That was one of the few moments in my life that I thought, this could be a dream. This can't be real right now. It was very real. Finally, I went up and knocked on their door. One knock, nothing. What? Another knock, nothing. On like the fifth knock, all I hear in the room is, oh, that's the alarm. Alarm goes off. Silent. Sorry, Will. And then I just go back to sleep. I couldn't believe the knock woke them up. Fire alarm going off. Fast asleep. And I'm like, knock, knock, knock. Oh, what is that? What is that knocking noise? What? Couldn't believe it. So if you have an alarm system, man, make it loud enough that you're going to wake up. Let's just say they left the alarm off for the rest of the trip. Had a great time, man. Also watched the in-season tournament for the NBA. I don't think I've talked about, I probably have a little bit, but I'm a huge basketball fan. Huge. I love basketball so much. I love the in-season tournament thing. I can just watch a full basketball game and be so happy, which I do a lot of the time. I'm a Dallas Mavericks are my team, and I watch every single game. Every game, the whole year, every single game. Huge fan. Love basketball. Listen to basketball podcasts. Huge. I have a feeling I don't have a lot of sports fans who are fans of mine, but I could be wrong about that. So if you are a big basketball fan, can you do me a favor and just comment on my YouTube and be like, yo, what up? Let's talk hoops. Just out of curiosity, because I want to talk about basketball more, but I don't think people give a fuck. So let me know if I'm wrong. I want to give a couple updates, podcast updates real quick. I don't think it's a secret that I've been very indecisive and all over the place with the podcast content I've been putting out lately. So I just want to say thank you guys for being patient as I navigate this new space. I think when I was in Minneapolis relaxing, through kind of changing my environment and taking a breath, taking some space away from my career, I realized that I actually really want to go back to doing this podcast every week. And I don't think anyone has strong feelings either way. I don't think anyone's up at night like, what kind of podcast content is Will going to put out this week, man? The suspense is killing me. I know you guys don't care that much, but this is me holding myself accountable for like flip-flopping around. Because I've been very clear, I don't want to be the guy with a podcast who does it for 2 months and then stops, makes it this big release. That's like my biggest fear with this, is that I do it and I get tired of it and then I just stop, because that's what everyone does. So I'm going to stick with this. And I also always pride myself, like I've talked about just keeping it real with you guys. I'm always just going to be honest and real and authentic with what's going on with me. And that's the deal. And I think the idea of, on this podcast, talking about life as much as comedy made me more comfortable and wanting to lean back into this. Because I think it was starting to turn into kind of just the travel stuff, the comedy stuff, and that was it. And I think that's very important. And I like talking about that stuff, but I want to talk more about life and, things that I'm up to as a person. And I've realized that how I'm going to acquire new fans is it's going to be from the stand-up clips. So that's going to get the new fans. And this podcast is going to deepen that connection by getting to know me more as a person. And I had this, I had the idea for the Would You Rather show and, did a few of them. And I kind of needed to live with the idea for like a month to realize that I didn't really want to do it. and that's why I'm kind of thanking you guys for being patient as I figure that out. Because, not that I don't think that would be a funny idea. I think it's a great hook, but I don't want to have to get guests. I can't have the show just be, I can't do it alone. I don't want to do it with Kaylee every single week. She's as amazing as she is at it. It's like she's busy. We both have our own, lives. And the plan was that I'm just going to get a new guest kind of every Would You Rather. And it's just, that sucks, man. I don't want to have to be the thing where I'm DMing people, waiting on the response, panicking. It's like I'm already stressed thinking about it. So I'd rather just do an interview on this podcast every once in a while with a guest that I really want to talk to. And also I look forward to asking people questions that they don't normally get asked. I think that's the thing that's going to separate me in the interview space, is just asking very specific questions that, comedians that haven't been asked before. So that's the plan. And again, could change, but for now, I think this is going to be the podcast for a while. And I'm excited by it. Hopefully this will be the last update for a while. So again, please, subscribe to the YouTube. I think that helps a lot. And do me a favor. I like when you guys comment, because I see all the comments, and it helps. The encouragement helps. Confirming that I'm right, that you guys are enjoying this format, I think helps a lot. So yeah, just I appreciate any feedback. Right? Unless you hate it, then I don't want to hear about it. Keep it to yourself. Okay, go fuck yourself. Sorry. Let's talk about some shows, man. I'm on the last leg of this tour, man, the last few dates. And, it's the way the tour has gone was I kind of did the highest demand cities and the biggest markets for kind of the first half of the year. January through, I'd say, let's call it July, were the big cities. I'm talking Chicago, Denver, LA, DC, Seattle, Portland, like big, New York, Philly, all that shit, like big cities. And then I obviously had Boston in November, but other than that, it was all the big cities. And then the second half of the year, starting the fall, kind of like the middle and lower markets, the Pittsburghs, the Clevelands, the Charlottes. And it's been weird, man, because the big marketplaces, I crushed it with ticket sales, especially at the beginning and in the summer. Like things were cooking, and I couldn't be more confident with where I was at ticket wise and just career wise. I felt great. And I slowly started to do these smaller markets and not sell as many tickets. And it gets hard, man. Like I've talked about before, your worth as a comedian is not just tied to laughs, but when you get to this professional level, it's tied to ticket sales and what that number is. And for a while, I wasn't getting less than 150 a show. I remember in Pittsburgh, I remember I did 140 on a Wednesday, and I was kind of bummed. Dude, to think about doing 140 now in Raleigh would be sick. But that's not happening. And I can't exactly point to why, but the ticket sales have just been lower. And I think it's just figuring out where I can move tickets and where markets are good for me, where they're not. Tell you what, man, Indianapolis, St. Louis, not the best markets for me. Pretty slow. Barely broke 100 on both shows. Granted, they were Wednesday, Thursday. Those are always a struggle, but dude, I did 210 in Nashville on a Wednesday. So I know it's possible to move tickets like that, but I think it's just me learning where I can sell. And yeah, the tickets I'm gonna talk about Indianapolis first. The tickets were moving pretty slow, and they just never really picked up. I thought we were gonna get that last day or two push, but never really happened. I did these. It was a Helium Comedy Club. There's a few brands of clubs. We have the Improvs, we have the Zanies, we have the Funny Bones. I've been doing Funny Bones a lot lately. Those fucking rip. Then there's the Heliums, which are all very much the same. The capacity is always 275. The backdrop is very like a painted backdrop of the city. I'm sure you probably recognize it in different clips you see now. It's hard to, it's like a watercolor background. It's really pretty, and the design of these spaces are really great. I love how it's built. Indianapolis had probably one of the best heliums I've been to. It has normally the stage is very low and you're almost on the same level as all the audience members, which I don't really like. I like being a little bit elevated because I'm better than them. I'm kidding. Because I just like I like looking a little bit down. There's just something about that I like. So the stage itself in Indianapolis was really great, and they sat the club really well where they pushed everybody towards the front, which I loved. It's tough when everything's scattered around, people in the back, people on the side. They really sat everyone perfectly. So it visually looked good the way it was. It's like the whole kind of front section was filled. I want to talk about superstitions for a second. I'm a very superstitious guy to the point of, I'm sure I've talked about this before, where it's if I wear, and this is very much tied to my OCD, if I wear a shirt and I have a bad set, I'll be like, well, I can't wear that shirt again. Until I have a good set in that shirt, it's out of the rotation. And certain things I have with me every set, I always have on the stool, I always have my notebook of my set for basically just kind of for safety. I'm not really looking at it, but sometimes I switch the order up and I just need a quick glance to remind myself of where I'm at. And then I have my timer with my phone on top of that. Number one is recording the sound of the audience as well as my time of where I'm at, because I need to know exactly how much time I have in my set. Because most clubs don't have a clock. Some do, which is awesome, but I like knowing exactly where I'm at, right? And so there's certain things I just always need in a set to make me feel comfortable, and that's my routine. And I remember in Kansas City, I forgot my notebook at the hotel, and I didn't have time to go back because I had already forgotten something and went back. I forgot like a microphone, so I had to run back to the hotel, go back to the show. And then that's when I realized I forgot my notebook, and I was like, God damn it. Haven't done one show without it. And it freaked me out because I thought, oh, I'm gonna bomb because I don't have my notebook. Sure enough, I wrote it on my piece of paper. I wrote on like, I should have brought it. It's on my desk over there. I wrote it out on like a little piece of paper in my set. And I've said it before, Kansas City was one of my favorite shows the whole tour. So that was really good for my OCD and my superstition is to be so worried about the outcome and for it to go so well. I was like, okay, if I forget my notebook again, it's okay. So something else happened in the same vein where I've worn this necklace. I've had this necklace for years. I want to say like 3 years now that I've had this necklace, and I always wear it on stage. I never don't wear it. I've probably forgotten it in the last 3 years. I haven't worn it maybe 5 times. And before the Indianapolis show, I realized I forgot it and didn't have time to go back to the hotel. And I said, okay, it's the same thing in Kansas City. Gonna have to rock with it. Maybe I'll have a great show because of it. And gotta be honest, the show wasn't one of my best. It started really good, and it just kind of like felt like it kind of petered out a little bit. I think I was a little off that night. I'm not sure why. And something good, I'll talk about something good is there's always the transition from crowd work back into jokes is always weird. And I've always struggled with it. Not so much struggled with it, but just kind of toyed with different ways of transitioning, because it is a bit weird. And I tried like a new transition out of it in Indianapolis and it worked great. And I don't want to, again, I can't say too much about the joke, but it was just a joke that people really like, and that's an easy transition for me. So that was good. Figured that out a little bit, switched it up for the better. I'm always learning, I'm always adapting this shit. Trying to put on the best possible show I can, with or without a necklace. I'm always trying to give it the best show. I think also I took a risk with a different crowd work avenue, for lack of a better term, is I wanted to ask people like specific timely questions, meaning questions about Thanksgiving and Christmas, For example, like, what are you thankful for? Or with Christmas, like, what do you want for Christmas? I thought this was going to be a really good idea, but, bro, I got nothing. And I think it was the people I talked to, maybe, but I got like nothing in there. And it just wasn't one of my best crowd work shows. And what I've realized is that if I don't get like a big pop with crowd work, I almost don't love the show. Because if I go up there and just do my jokes, I know what the jokes are going to get to an extent, right? I've talked about it before. But with crowd work, that almost feels like you're working on new jokes. And so if the new jokes, aka the crowd work, don't go well, then I'm like, oh, that set, I didn't enjoy that set because the new exciting part didn't work. But if I get a big pop, then I'm like, nice, love that set. And Indianapolis never got that big pop. There were some fun moments, had a great time, but it just wasn't that extra crush that I just didn't get. And is what it is, bro. That's comedy for you. Had a blast at the meet and greet though. Everyone was cool as shit. Tour posters, still selling those. People love those, and vibes were good, man. And I tell you what, man, I really wish that I was more delusional. I wish I could have a decent set and be like, cool, that was fun. But if I had a decent set, I'm like, ugh, decent? A B plus? Fuck out of here. I don't want that B plus shit. I just wish I was a little bit delusional. Just a touch. Not enough to just be out there hacking it up, bombing, and being like, whoa, pretty good set, huh? Because there's so many comedians like that will go up and eat shit, and they'll get off stage and be like, yeah, bro, crushed. What's up? No, you didn't. I did way better than you, and I'm still like, that was whatever. I just want a little bit of delusion. Like, I'm so hypercritical that even a good set will still bum me out. But I think that's why I'm just striving to be great. So I don't mind being that way. I've gotten this far. I think I know what I'm doing a little bit. That was a long delay. I was taking a sip of water for the audio people. Audio people sounds like a band. So went to St. Louis, long drive, 3.5, 4 hours. Luckily, my boy Nolan was with me, and he did a lot of the driving, which I really, really appreciated. Shout out to Friendship. Again, same amount of tickets sold in St. Louis. Not pumped about it. Was like, what's going on with the Midwest? Talked to the club, Helium, again, different Helium. And they were basically like, yep, this is a weird market. People who sell out come here and they don't. Or they'll sell more than they normally do. Like, it's so over the place. The manager was like, bro, don't trip about it. This is a weird market. So I was like, okay, say less. Great vibe at this club, by the way, man. The manager, young dude, can't remember his name. It doesn't matter. It's more so for me trying to remember it. This dude fucking rocked, man. The whole staff was great. The manager specifically was so cool that I was trying to plug in this bad boy to the soundboard so I can get the mic audio, and they didn't have like a cord that worked. This dude left the club to go to like a Best Buy to buy a cord for me. Insane. I've never heard of anything like that. And I've dealt with some dope club managers that kind of turned into friends at the end of the night or the weekend, but I've never seen someone run an errand for me to make my content better. So impressed, man. It was such a good vibe straight off the bat that I'm not surprised that the show rocked. I love the St. Louis show, man. And I was a little nervous going into it, not only with ticket sales, but I have a lot of family in St. Louis, funny enough. My dad is born and raised in St. Louis. And his sister, my aunt, and my uncle have lived there, stayed in St. Louis, as well as their daughters. So I had about 10 people, 10 family members come to the show. And I don't think that's happened yet on the tour. I've had random, 2, 3 family members come out, but never like a fucking row of a couple tables worth. So I actually had to tell the club to like, hey, can you please set them in the back? Please. Because the last thing I want is all of them in the front row, dude. Oh my God, that'd be so weird. If I'm like looking at my aunt while I'm doing dick jokes. So in my head. Ugh. Sure enough, it worked. They yeah, they didn't seat people super well, where it was a little bit scattered, unlike Indianapolis, where it was very condensed and focused. It was a little all over the place. It's like visually, the show didn't look great. But dude, it was so fun. I had so much fun. And I got those big crowd work pops that I wanted from Indianapolis that I need, and I got those. And even Nolan knows me so well. He knows that if I get that big pop, he'll be like, oh, cool, Will's gonna be happy. So yeah, man, I genuinely had so much fun. I'm gonna post a clip from it probably in a couple weeks. It's such a funny moment where there was I don't want to give it away. You'll see it. I'm just excited. Just a great show, man. And meet and greet was even better. People were just great. I don't know, man. Just a certain vibe, man. St. Louis was just so fun. The staff was just extra nice. Where they were giving me, whenever you get real compliments from like the wait staff, bro, that shit really means something. Because the people that watch comedy all night and all day, and you get them to laugh, you're doing something right. So I got some real compliments, and that made me feel really nice. And you know what also made me feel really nice is shout out to this guy, man. I don't remember his name, but came up to me after the meet and greet and basically said a version of, hey, I've been sober for 150 days, and this is my first night out since I've been sober. First night around alcohol, basically, and just really thanked me for a great night, and just kind of shared this really heartfelt story with me that it really meant a lot, man. And I've heard things like that a few times before, and that's really what this whole thing's about. Is making people laugh is great, but when you kind of have an impact on people's lives, dude, it really, really makes me so fulfilled. And I have so much gratitude for that, man. This guy was really sweet, and I really wanted to give him my time and energy, because that it's just to come out, man, because I know alcoholism, bro, that's a crazy battle. It's so hard to overcome that stuff, any addiction for that matter. And just the fact that he shared that with me meant a lot. And yeah, just had to get real for a second and just say how much that stuff means to me. And it's nice to just make an impact in that way, just even if a handful of times, So yeah, man, St. Louis, that's one of my new favorite clubs. I'll go back and sell barely 100 tickets again. I'm down. Let it rip. And in terms of tour dates coming up, I still putting them together with my agent. Kind of just letting her cook, let her do her thing. She's arranging everything for me, so I'm just sitting back waiting. No updates to share as of now. I hope to launch the dates middle to late January. Good chance that I'm going to start touring heavily in like March, in the spring, basically. That's just how it's going to shake up for various reasons, and I'm feel good about it. I think I could use a little bit of a break, and I'm going to be going back to a lot of the cities I went to at the beginning of this year. DC, LA, Denver, San Diego, places like that will be probably the first few cities I'm going to hit in the spring, as well as other cities that I need to go to, like Vancouver and San Antonio and Buffalo, Vegas. Those are some new cities I never got a chance to hit. So just a quick update for you guys there. And I'm just going to run this whole thing back, man, and keep touring, keep growing. And if you go to my website now, you'll see the tickets for Florida, but then also right below that, you'll see the form that you could submit your city and your email for where you want me to go. All that data is super valuable. So again, if you want me to come to your city, put it in there, put your email. You're not going to get hit up. The only time you're going to get hit up is when I announce the show and a reminder the week of. That's it. So don't be worried about getting spam stuff. So that's the deal. That's the pod. And again, I'm really enjoying this version of the podcast I'm putting out right now. I hope the audio was okay. What sucks is that I won't know until I listen back to it. So forgive me, it's not great. Or shout out to me if it's better. Appreciate you. And that's all I got, man. I'll see you next week.